All right, let's see here. Cool. Everything is sounding okay, it looks like. Just to check here. I take this up one more tick. Hopefully that doesn't make everything explode. Okay, so I'm getting started a little earlier here today. There's quite a bit to get through. I'm looking forward to it. So let me change this. I forgot to do this before the stream started, but I was trying to hop right into it. Haunted PS1 Summer of Shivers is the jam we are playing the games from today. So this is the continuation. Last week I did, I think, roughly half of the ones that were out at the time. So let me go ahead and pull up my itch.io, which has all of these games on it. So let's get that captured. Window capture. Itch.io. There we go. Awesome. Oh, hello. Thank you for lurking. I appreciate it. I will be back to painting next week. I just received in the mail. I've been waiting on some sponges for my wet palette because my wet palette's sponge got like covered in mold, unfortunately, and that's gross. So I have I bleached the whole thing, and I bought some new sponges. So next week I'll be back with painting again. It's been a little while since I've done painting. Working on drawing. Awesome. No problem. I appreciate the lurking. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, cool. So we're doing more of the Haunted PS1 Summer of Shivers game jam. To refresh anyone's memory, let's go ahead and look at the page for it. So the goal with this game jam, I guess they do one of these every year, or maybe they've done a couple of years of this. At the very least, I remember they did one. I know that they did one last year. I wasn't playing these games last year when this happened. I found out about the PS1 demo disc 2021, and that was my first exposure to all of this. But they did a game jam last year, and I've played a couple of entries just from like looking for them and looking for cool games, and it just so happened that they happened to be from last year's jam, and they were really good. So I was like, yeah, let's check out this one. Let's see how it is. So the theme of this game jam was submechanophobia, a fear of submerged man-made objects such as submarines, shipwrecks, other things like that. And the other option for a theme is public service announcement, which could be applied as well, or instead of, I suppose. Now, I've only played a couple of games that really featured the public service announcement thing. I know it says that these themes aren't mandatory and are only intended to inspire you, but I think it'd be interesting to like look at. I have a couple of criteria I've written down. I last week I sort of went through them a little bit freeform just to kind of talk about the games, but now I've come up with a little bit better of a way of filtering my thoughts after the game. So I will do the same thing where once I'm done with the game, I'm going to talk about what I think about it, and at least I'll use these notes to organize my thoughts a little better. So there's these two themes, and then I sort of consider the group itself, Haunted PS1, to be its own theme to a certain extent. A bit of spookiness, whether that is horror or Halloween-y fun type horror, haunted stuff like the Scully here, or PS1 aesthetic, some sort of low poly, low like pixel count kind of thing. I'm including like Nintendo 64 and early PC 3D stuff in that as well. Now, so since it says that the themes aren't mandatory and they're intended to inspire, when I break down my criticism, I'm not aiming to say, you know, oh, this game doesn't have a PSA in it, so it sucks. You know, that's not my goal. But I will comment on it if it doesn't seem to have anything related to one of these two themes. But I think it's interesting. I think these are really like cool themes to play off of. I think public service announcement is particularly interesting. But anyway, so let's go ahead and dive into some games. I actually want to replay 2 games that I did last week because I screwed up the capture for them. And I feel bad about that. And I think I can expand what I have to say because they were like the first 2 games that I played last week. So this time we're going to do them correctly. I've also noticed, okay, so this is the Game Jam page where all the submissions are. And I've noticed a couple of them have disappeared. There was something about like a Resident Evil kind of game that was on here last time. And also there was like a Snake clone or something that was in here. I noticed those have disappeared. I don't know. I'm not sure why or why not. You know, maybe they just didn't belong in the jam or something, but that's okay. I just noticed that. Hey, that's one less thing that I have to go through tonight. I don't want to rush through these, but I do have a lot to get through. Okay, so we have the Keeper. Keeper was the first one I did last week, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with that one. Oh, I gotta reinstall it. I forgot. I must have uninstalled it afterwards. But this one was good, and I had a lot to say about it, and I don't think some of that came across because it was muted. So this time, hopefully I will get this right. I will make sure that you can hear the game before I get going on it. Okay, so it's now running, and let's get it captured and make sure you can hear it. Let's do the game capture. Okay, there's the Keeper. Should pop up in just a second here. There it is. Very good. Let's get rid of the window capture for Itch.io for a second. Okay, so can we see and or hear this game? Let's see, audio output capture. I think that's the one I want. Yeah, it should be getting my headset. So I'm gonna check this once we get started. I don't hear anything right now. Is that coming through? No, it is not. Okay, so good thing I checked that. Let's try this again. Every time I do one of these kind of streams, it's always a bit of testing out how things work because sometimes they just don't. Ah, there we go. Now we've got some sound. Okay, perfect. All right, let's go for it. So the Keeper. I played this one last week, and this one has a lot of polish for a jam game.
Better get back to shore.
Okay, just making sure that comes through. Looks like it is. I'll turn it up just a little bit. Turn it up in my headphones too. Alright, so we're on a boat on the ocean. Fishing boat, small fishing boat. And we have our good old plastic barrel full of fish. Life preserver. The boxes. Ooh! Divine Comedy. Dante. What is this? Oh, it's the thing to tie the boat to the pier, I think. Yeah, that must be what it is. our shopping list. Bait, whiskey, apples, potatoes, flowers. Now, I'm going to be kind of going through this game a little bit more quickly today, I think, than I did last week, because we've seen all of the things that the game has to say, and I want to talk about it a little bit more. So pardon me if I talk over the dialogue a little bit.
I can barely see a thing. Oh, what the hell? Come on, girl, just turn. Oh, pissing hell.
Yeah, so last week a lot of the comments that I made about the voice acting were it felt a little bit forced, and now you can actually hear the voice acting, so you can actually understand what I mean about that.
My head. What in the pissing hell is he doing up there?
Yeah, okay, so...
Well, doesn't look like that's going to be working.
I guess it's more that the voice acting doesn't seem to have the range, I guess. I don't know very much about voice acting, so I don't know proper terminology for that, but like you know, him saying "oh, piss and hell" feels a little bit more comedic than I think it maybe should. Just like small things, you know. But that said, like I said last week about this game, it's impressive that it's got voice acting at all, and it seems like it's got at least 2 voice actors in it. One of the things that I really enjoyed about playing this game is that it seems like a lot of care was taken into crafting the visuals and making sure that the area felt populated enough and natural.
What is this place? I don't remember seeing this on the way in.
Like every few steps there's something you can be looking at. It doesn't feel monotonous. The gentle motion of like the slopes and things like that, like it's little things like that that really add a lot, I think. And so even though I have some criticisms of the rest of the game, I really want to point that out as like that's a real positive here. It's like it feels like the level was really well thought out and put together, and the experience of walking through it was really taken into consideration. Now, that said, this brings up, so now we get into the parts where I'm a little bit more critical, and I'm not, you know, meaning to be like down on it or anything. I'm not saying that this is the part where I really go to town on the things I don't like. But this game has like really good, it looks really good, and I kind of like how all the little puzzles interact and all that. But I feel a bit like the pieces don't work together that well.
What are you playing at? Why was your light turned off? You could have bloody killed me. What the hell was that? Where'd he go? Maybe I'm just seeing things. It was a nasty crash after all.
So, in going back through this, we have our protagonist is kind of going in this loop. We just saw the protagonist up here at the end of their cycle as we're starting the beginning of the cycle. And I'm not really sure how that all fits into the story. Like, there's not like I don't know how to put it. The elements don't seem to relate. Like, you've got a story about a family that all ends up dying. The mother, I think they said, dies of cancer, and that causes the father to be estranged from his daughter, and the daughter jumps off the lighthouse and he crashes his boat and dies, I think. But then we have this cycle thing, right, where it's like we're exploring all of these things and I guess revisiting them and then starting over, and I'm not really sure how that fits in thematically. I mean, I guess you could say trapped in your own trauma, I guess, is how it's supposed to be coming across. But then what does like the lighthouse have to do with it? Because the lighthouse's goal is to alert ships of land masses, right? Land masses, I think I've got that right. I mean, I'm talking about something I know pretty much nothing about. I know that lighthouses commonly appear in horror stories and stuff like that, but the light is to guide ships, and so it is guiding his ship back to this and these memories or something. So then why does the protagonist not instantly recognize all of these things? So it's kind of confusing to me. I'm not sure how to interpret some of the events and how they work together.
It's locked.
And then the puzzles I like. I like the, even if it's the very basic, like find a thing to open next door. That's all kind of fine, and it didn't take me out of the experience of playing the game. Not as much as reading these notes did. And the reason I say that is because like this part right here where she says, "Dad, I hate needing to leave you notes everywhere. It's like I never see you anymore." I get that. There's certain things that I don't know. It feels like loose justification for, I don't know,
I'm missing something.
like a different way of doing that. I often refer to games that are walking simulators where you walk around and then read a note as paragraph marathons. Like your goal is to read the story and then do other things.
Hey, wait.
But I wonder if there's like a more a way that could be integrated more into the story of the game.
I better keep hold of this.
Because this game has so much great like environmental storytelling kind of potential, it's just, it kind of feels like a whole bunch of elements that individually are good, and then together they're kind of okay, but they could be more interwoven. I feel like I've said that a million times in ways that are not very good. But anyway. Yeah, because like this little shed tells you a lot about the guy who is the fisherman, right? And like the stuff he's eating, the stuff he's seeing, the fact that he's got a poster of a naked lady on the wall, stuff like that. Anyway.
Why do you keep doing this to yourself? Nothing's gonna change.
I better keep hold of this.
I miss her too. Why didn't you speak to me?
Hello? You in here?
Okay, so we had all these notes, and they essentially tell you about how the characters are getting estranged from each other. And I suppose on at the very basic level, the fact that they're writing notes to each other rather than talking to each other, does kind of explain away that whole process. But it does feel a little bit like telling instead of showing. And I think that's the problem that I have with a lot of walking simulators that rely very heavily on notes instead of the storytelling. Is like, you know, so much of this story is being... So much of the story doesn't feel the same as the things that I'm seeing, but not in a way that tells me more about it, if that makes sense, I guess. Like, I'm not sure how to interpret the fact that this house has a roaring fire in it, and there's stuff in the pantry and all that. Like, are those his memories? Is that what's going on here? Because he's in the closet back there. Is this trapped in time? There's not a whole lot of information or things that suggest what exactly is going on. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I like how all of the little, like, you know, interaction puzzle things are set up, and they make really great use of the environment that you have in here. Oops.
I better keep hold of this.
It's just one of those things where, like, it would be really cool if, rather than a note telling me a lot of the things, the environment did a little bit more of that. I guess this is one that was kind of doing that, right? He's boarded up the room of the daughter that jumped off the lighthouse.
Soon, you just get some rest.
And I'm being very critical because this game is clearly made by someone who really thought about a lot of these things, right? I'm being critical not as a way of being dismissive to the game, but as saying, like, this is really good, and I think it could be so much more. I think I see a lot of potential in it, and so I'm trying to point out the things that I don't necessarily like about it. Or maybe that's getting lost on me.
The pendulum's missing.
Right, we gotta get the pendulum from the other clock. Where is it? There it is.
This might come in handy.
Okay. Oops. We get the key. The skeleton points at us. And we walk away. And we follow the anime girl up there. Now, I realize that to a certain extent, I have a hard time taking serious stories seriously. I tend to look at things either from the perspective of the comedy of it, or from, like, a mechanical perspective rather than a serious narrative perspective.
I need to install the bulb before I can turn it on.
Oh, yeah, okay. Gotta get the bulb. Where's that? Oops, gotta go back down. Looks interesting. Yeah, it's a game that like, I'm being very critical of because I think it's got a lot of, like, really good things about it. If it's true that this was made in the period of time that the Game Jam was running in a month, then it's incredibly impressive. Like, I really like how this house looks, how the outside looks, how as I put it, like, how populated the space was, like the fact that there's, like, a little dresser here and things that kind of break up the space. So it's not just you're in an empty house looking for key or whatever, which you kind of still are, but there's a lot more that's breaking it up. But it is still one of those paragraph marathon games. Okay, where was the light bulb? I forgot. I'm running through this kind of quickly, but so I've sort of forgotten where things were. Where was the light bulb? some of the best, like the overarching story, I guess, is not really interesting to me. It's like the little things that get brought up. Oh, there it is. Like the commentary about the posters and things. That's the stuff that I think is really neat in the game. The overall story is kind of like, well, it's another sad story about suicide, and I don't know. I've seen so many of those in indie horror that I don't know, just doesn't hit me, See ya. Jumping onto the boat. Oh, right, I gotta turn the light on. That's how we get it. That's how we trigger that. Okay. Where's the chair? Is the chair on the other side? Or does the chair appear after she jumps? No, it's here. Yeah. Oh, gotta turn it on. There we go. The rat is the saddest part. Poor rat. So maybe I'm just a dummy, but I don't know. Like, I don't see the parts interlinking all that well.
I'm so sorry, sweetheart. She won't be coming home.
So, okay, so like, here's a perfect example. As we're walking out through all of the environments that we've gone through, we're getting all of the story that was on all of those notes. Like, that one scene is kind of all I needed to get the context of it. It feels like all the rest of it is kind of repetition.
Leave me be. Leave me alone. Shivers.
Okay, I didn't try walking over here last time. Nope, can't go in there, okay. Like, kind of from the beginning, as soon as I saw the ghost, I could kind of figure out what the story was about. And that's what I mean by, like, that one scene where all he says is she's not coming home and they both look sad. I was like, oh, I get it. Like, that's all you need is that scene.
Hey, what are you playing at? Why was your light turned off? Could have bloody killed me.
And then we have this interaction, and this is the one that confuses me, because I guess you could say, like, he's trapped in his grief, right? Is that, if that's kind of what I'm getting from this? I don't know. I'm just not figuring out how the pieces fit, I don't know. That's maybe there's something in there that the creators were thinking of that is just lost on me because I don't know enough about these specific elements, or maybe I'm just overlooking very simple things, which is entirely possible too. But I just got the feeling that the story didn't match the rest of the game. I guess it's like we've seen a lot of stories about something bad happened and now we're gonna end the game with suicide. And lots of games with lighthouses, lots of games that are walk around and find a note from someone who's not there anymore. So to a certain extent it feels like a little bit of a best of all of the things that you've seen for a long time, and it does a good job at those things at the very least, but and in the time limit or whatever. But I think it'd be cool to see other things that the dev has done that maybe have something kind of more original to say. So anyway, yeah, that was The Keeper. So yeah, okay. Let's go on to another one.